To protect the environment and to complement sustainable drainage systems, Wavin Plastics Limited introduces two new water management solutions, Aquacell and Garrastor. The environment we are used to is under threat. Winters are setting new records for rainstorms. Floods have covered large areas of southern England. Many believe that we are seeing permanent climate change. Extreme weather is here to stay. The increased water flow will erode and overwhelm natural flows and man-made systems. Drainage and other water systems will have to cope with new demands. Rainwater running off from roofs, roads and car parks will carry pollution into lakes and rivers. New solutions have to be found. The UK government has called for 4 million new houses to be built in the next few years. The increased runoff from both increased development and outbursts of heavier rain is demanding new and sustainable solutions in water management. Before a greenfield site is developed, rain soaks through soft ground and much of the water is carried away through base flow and interflow under the surface, leaving only a moderate amount to flow over the surface. Impermeable roofs, roads and parking areas can lead to a greater volume and velocity of surface flow, which depletes the water table under the site and erodes and floods downstream watercourses. To prevent stormwater damage downstream, there is ever greater emphasis in planning, building and environmental regulations on water management and control at source. Aquacell can store, attenuate and infiltrate water flows on or near a site without constraining the use of valuable development land. When runoff exceeds a certain level during times of heavy rainfall, the water is channeled into Aquacell underground storage units. They are easy to install and will bear the load of normal vehicle use above it while providing a 95% void space for water. The unit can then allow gradual infiltration back into the ground. Or a control unit will allow the stored water to be released at a controlled rate after heavy rain has stopped. 7,000 Aquacell units are installed at Birmingham International Airport.
They wanted 2,000 car parking spaces in time for the holiday season starting in May, and the start period was from Christmas. We've got a 5-hectare site here. We're looking at 95% impermeability, and that's a very large paved area to drain. The biggest constraint on us was from the Environment Agency, who required that the surface water runoff from this car park should be limited to a greenfield site runoff. We were going to require a very large underground storage capacity, and this is when we started looking at the waving infiltration unit.
At Birmingham Airport, a junction pipework assembly directs a controlled multiple feed of stormwater into 7,000 Aquacell units.
These days we are looking for an environmental solution. The infiltration unit is really ideal suited to the latest requirements of the Environment Agency and the government under PPG 25. So it became the most effective solution for the contractor who wanted to get the job done on time.
Installation of Aquacell units is straightforward. An excavation is made, an appropriate bedding material is poured in, and where several layers of the units to be used, the floor of the excavation is level. The units are lightweight and large storage modules can quickly be assembled by hand. Each layer is secured by clips to hold the units together. Each layer of units is held in position by shear connectors. If the units are to be used only for storage and controlled release, an impermeable wrap is heat welded in place. Where water will be infiltrated back into the surrounding ground, a geotextile permeable wrap is used. The wrap is closed and finished off, and the final surface layers applied. Industrial development sites are often situated on flat, low-lying land. Brownfield development in such areas can transfer soil-bound gas and hydrocarbons to local watercourses. Shuttleworth Mead Power Station in Padiham has a high water table with a limited gradient to the outfall.
We became involved in the site quite late on, where the actual solution for the storage and conveyance of the stormwater was going to be achieved in gravel-filled trenches. And once this was proven not to be a viable solution, we were brought in to try and put a more sustainable approach to the stormwater management generally. And we based this on the Aquacell system, which provided us with 3 times the void ratio. Because of that, we reduced the cross-section of the trench, which meant that any exportation of contaminated land was kept to a minimum. In addition, we were able to create a shallower conveyance system, which enabled us to achieve the outfall location onto the River Calder. The Aquacell system was encapsulated within a robust weldable geomembrane system that needed to be hydrocarbon resistant. That in turn was protected by a geotextile protection layer, and the ASDUG backfill was placed around the system. By encapsulating the Aquacell system, we were able to control and confirm that no contaminated groundwater was coming into the system and hence out into the river.
Aquacell has helped developers of residential housing to maximise land use while meeting environmental requirements. Excess water runoff can be channelled into Aquacell units so that development land need not be used for settlement ponds. The need to maintain and safeguard potentially dangerous culverts to take the water away is also avoided. At New Hall in Sutton Coldfield, planning permission for 600 houses was given, provided that amenity land nearby was safeguarded and greenfield levels of water runoff would minimise flooding of downstream watercourses.
The water management strategy that was developed for New Hall Valley as a whole was put forward for an award, Institute of Civil Engineers Project Award, and won the accolade. And in the award ceremony, the chairman of the judging panel used the phrase, "They touched the earth lightly."
Aquacell units have been placed underneath the amenity land itself to store stormwater and then to release it through a combination of infiltration and controlled runoff into a swale system.
The Aquacell provides this opportunity for the water to contact the surrounding soils and therefore get whatever infiltration is available. But because it acts as storage as well, it slows down and reduces the flood peak of the watercourse at the outfall, which then the open systems, the swales or whatever, can then deal with. The consultants who developed the water management strategy came up with 5 options, of which the one we've chosen is the favoured one from the Environment Agency because of its advantages to the country park and its advantages to flood defence. In other words, maintaining the status quo, maintaining the greenfield runoff characteristics of the site, and also the biggest benefits to biodiversity.
Wavin looks for ways to combine the efficient management of water and energy with the most cost-effective use of resources throughout construction. Typical of this approach is the Garristore concept. Stormwater from this development at Banbury is channeled conventionally from the roofs, guttering and car parks to a drainage system. When rainfall exceeds normal levels, the excess is redirected by a control chamber to a void under the garage. In the Garristore concept, the water is then stored here until the rain subsides. It is then released by a small orifice in the control chamber that enables water to flow back into the conventional network at a controlled rate.
This part of the site is probably going to have 300 houses, and we've restricted the flow by using Garristore plus large pipes under the road to an actual outfall of only 22 litres per second. Eventually there are enhancements which we can introduce which will give a permanently wetted storage area, and then the householder will be able to utilise that water for gardening and car washing, etc. The actual cost involved is very minimal, and we've worked out that to store 1 cubic metre of water using this system costs about £100, whereas using traditional box culverts it can vary between £250 and £600 to store 1 cubic metre of water. So you can actually see the benefits for the developer. We've already talked about the benefits for the householder and also the benefits for the drainage authorities, who won't have onerous storage areas and volumes to oversee and look after.
Aquacell and Garristore are used together at this site. The result is reduced costs and environmental benefits. Wavins technology complements sustainable drainage systems and enhances the potential of residential and industrial developments. Aquacell and Garristore enable greater use to be made of amenity space. They have potential for attenuation and aeration to improve water quality, and they manage sudden increases in water quantity. Aquacell and Garristore are ideas that hold water.